Are you struggling to get your webinar attendees to say yes to your offers once your presentation is over? Just give me 10 minutes and I'm going to show you how to double your conversion rate for your webinars, workshops, or other types of events that you're running with an effective email follow-up strategy. And if you want a free audit of your current email strategy follow-up sequence, just drop me a line below and I'm going to personally reach out to you to make that happen. So if you don't know me, my name is Charlene Boutai. I'm your favorite email marketing strategist with at least one actionable strategy in every single video I publish. And if you stick with me today for the next 10 minutes, we're going to help you troubleshoot what is going on with your webinar follow-up and why people aren't converting. So the first thing to figure out before we fix anything is, okay, who attended your workshop or webinar and who didn't, okay? Because those two sets of people, we can't treat them the same because they don't have the same conversations happening in their heads. The people who attended now have more information about your niche, about your offers, about the problem that they have, than the people who didn't attend. And a really great email sequence is an email sequence that is able to join the conversation that's already happening in your leads' heads. So not everybody is going to have the time to check out your training. And for those who don't click to watch, so you can send them the following sequence. So what you can do is you have your webinar or workshop. Depending on how long it is, you'll have, I don't know how much content is in your workshop, but usually you'll be able to break it down into, between 3 to 5 main points. Now, for each of the main points, I want you to distill the core content that is in those points, the core lesson that people need to learn. And for each one, create one email. So if you have 3 points, you'll have 3 emails. So those are my little emails here. So even if people didn't attend the webinar, there's a chance that they'll open your emails and still get that information. So you can send that to the people who didn't click to view your webinar or who didn't join you on your live presentation. You can also send it to people who didn't click to view the replay of your webinar. So deliver these in bite-sized nuggets via email. Do it in written form, or you could also send them a link to a shortened video if that's the way that you prefer to deliver your content. And then every one of these emails, you can end with a call to action. So for high ticket offers that you haven't really sold at large before, get people to start a conversation with you instead of sending them to a sales page. If you have a low ticket offer, or if you're at the point where you're trying to scale past the 10K month mark, you can send them to your sales page instead of trying to get them to watch your training or get them on the phone with you. Because if you're at that point, you probably have less time available for you. So that's where the sales page can come in handy. But don't make the mistake of sending people to sales pages too soon, because if you still have the bandwidth and the time to have those conversations, it's better to have the conversations directly with people. But what about those who didn't watch your training, but who did watch the training, sorry, but who didn't take you up on your offer after all? What about those who did click on the replay, but who still haven't purchased? So what you can do is follow up with these people on a daily basis. So while a part of your audience is receiving these emails, you can have your watchers receive another series of emails. And you can send them one email a day, depending on how long your launch sequence is. So let's say your offer is available for 5 days. I would send them at least five emails. If it's available for 7 days, I would send them at least 7 emails. In this case, the more the better, because some people aren't going to open your emails, and the more you send, the more you can ensure that at least everybody on your list will at least open one of those emails. So you'll have a series of emails here. And I just want you to know, I am drawing three emails, as a graphic, but it doesn't mean that you have to stick to 3. I'm just showing this as a visual example of your flow. So your watchers will have these 3 emails as well. So these are little nuggets from your webinar. But instead of sending nuggets from the webinar, remember, these people have already watched your webinar, or at least they have intended to watch it. You can't be 100% sure they stayed until the end. There's no way to really know that, but you can send them some emails that explain several things about your story, your offer, your customers, in order to get them to take the plunge and purchase from you. So I like to call them story nuggets, because they can be nuggets of information, but they are mostly story driven. So some example of story nugget emails include success stories from past clients, maybe your personal story about why you created this offer in the first place, maybe a struggle that you've had to overcome. Also, tackling some false beliefs that people may have that are really stopping them from taking action and purchasing from you. You can tackle all of these topics using stories. So for example, if you had a past client that had some false beliefs, and you had they had a life experience that really got them to like overcome that false belief, that would make a really good story. If it happened to you, that would also make a good story as well. And whenever you think one of these stories will resonate with your audience and that it can help them realize the same thing about themselves, that can make a really powerful email. And it can also help people connect with your, like, the personal side of you. Tell that story in the email. So keep sending an email every day until the offer is no longer available. And here's the secret, and I know a lot of you won't want to hear me on this, okay? But the majority of your sales from your webinar will not come from your webinar or from this at all. So let me erase everything here, because the majority of your sales are going to come from much later down the line. And that's because the majority of your buyers will not buy right away. And that's because there's a statistic, 3/4 of B2B companies take at least 4 months to win over a new client. That is a really long sales cycle. So keep that in mind, 4 months. So when you're launching a webinar, whether it's a replay or it's live, you can expect most people, if it's the first time they're meeting you and they're coming across your content, it may take them another 4 months before they convert. You need to keep building that trust during those 4 months. So if you have a business model where you launch an offer for a short period of time and then that offer is no longer available, then you barely email your subscribers during that time between between now and your next launch, you're losing out on the biggest piece of the revenue pie, because during that time, people are going to forget who you are. People won't start developing trust in you if you're not nurturing that relationship. So in my business, I don't do launches. My service is available all the time until I'm booked out. So every day I send an email to my list with a relatable story, and I end that email with an offer to work with me. But some of my clients do prefer to do launches. So for example, those who have a webinar for launching, they do a live webinar maybe once or twice, then they don't do another one for another like 3 to 4 months, and their offer isn't available all the time. So if that's you, you still need to grow and maintain that relationship with your subscribers. So instead of offering to, like, in your emails for people to take you up on your offer right away, what you can do is send them to a wait list for your offer, or get them to consume some other form of content, whether that's a video on social media or a blog post or a podcast or a live video like the one you're watching now, or a replay if you're watching the replay. So aim to stay in touch with your audience at least 3 to 5 times a week. So that seems like a lot, but I want you to take a look at your email inbox right now, like your personal inbox. You'll notice, unless you never shop online, you'll notice that a lot of e-commerce brands are sending you emails like almost every single day, and they're making sales as a result. So the key to getting more conversions and conversations with people is to really keep emailing those people that opted in, keep building that relationship, keep sharing your story with them, because those who buy right away, they're the exception. They're not the rule. And that's really important to understand. It's okay if you launch your event, your webinar, your workshop, and you have a small conversion rate at the beginning, because a lot of those people will need a little bit of time to get to trust you, to get to understand what you do in order to be ready to take that next step. And you know what? I would really love to take a look at your current email sequence that follows up your webinar. I can audit your lowest hanging fruit that would make it essentially your easiest win right now. I can figure out what can you implement really quickly and right away that would get you your easiest win. So if you're interested in me doing that, just drop me a line below. I'll reach out to set up this audit for